Yeah, that was your idea, and it's. I realized the way my tone of voice was about to come out is like, and Itisdpayne regrets it. I don't.
I know you were not excited for it. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and Itisdpayne.
Sali Bonani, which is hello and I don't know how to say it. Nadebvi, which is okay. So there's, according to Wikipedia, there's two. There's a group in South Africa and another group that's in Zimbabwe and Botswana.
Okay.
I don't know if I said the North or South version, but I said one of them.
That you did. So this would be the time that I can ask about announcements, because I realize the next few episodes, the way that we plan on recording them, it'll be hard to try and sneak announcements in. So, do we have anything to announce this week?
We might. Let me check. Let's see. I lost everything. There we go. Pretty much, well, I guess when we record, do our third recording session, we can, that's right, everyone. It's 4th of July weekend, and we're finishing Better Off Dead this week. So I guess on Monday, we can share what's next. I don't think we really have any big announcements, except we're in the final 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are listening to this, we do have a video option on Spotify, and if you don't like Spotify, it's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. If you want a shout out, leave us a review or a comment or interact with us on Twitter.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Bye. No, I don't think. I don't know. I'm still having the constant battle that is only waged by me against our shared Twitter thing, where all it wants to do is tell me that you tweeted.
Which I don't do very often lately.
I think that's why. I think that's why he's like, hey, Hop tweeted.
Yeah, what was the last one about my rabbits sharing a strawberry together?
Mm-hmm. And then I think I commented on eCorp's her comment on yours, where I was just like, no, it's definitely the hand. The hand is taking it.
Reminds me, I haven't been to the store yet. I wanted to get some fresh fruits, because summer and Jersey means lots of fresh produce. But I could have made it to the farmer's market today. I was awake on time, and we didn't start till noon.
But were you out of bed on time?
I was on my feet maybe around a little bit after 11. So I probably wouldn't have made it there. Because the one that I like going to runs from 8 a.m. to noon, Saturdays in the summer.
Okay.
It's a very limited time window. But in either case,
I wouldn't want to be outside for that long. Just like...
No, I just mean a limited window. Like, it's not like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's just
the
Saturday.
One,
yeah.
I gotta go pick all the pomegranates and the cheese.
Pomegranates? Where do you think I live?
I don't know. It was just the first two things. I find it funny that you're having an issue with pomegranates and not the fact that I said you can pick cheese.
Well, I've seen cheese at the farmer's market. I've never seen pomegranates. Pomegranates grow in the Mediterranean region, Indian subcontinent, Central and Southeast Asia, tropical Africa, and parts of the U.S.
See? We're in one of the parts of the U.S.
California and Arizona are the top producers of pomegranates in the States.
But didn't say all.
But... yeah, this
I don't
is...
know. I was thinking more of just the farmers had to go pick all the pomegranate and cheese trees.
Oh, I thought you said pomegranates and cheese, not pomegranate cheese.
No, that's what I did say. But the way in my head it came out, my head canon is that cheese now grows on trees. Oh, that's
cheese trees.
That would smell once it got hot out.
Yeah, I'd hope that's a fall crop and not a summer crop.
But then all you have to do is, like, as it melts it, you just go with some little nachos, and you're like, hey, after this, I'm going to go visit the meat tree and just lop off some... I don't know. I lost the thread.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the meat tree would smell much worse.
Yeah.
But in either case... this is an episode that of Better Off Ted that we'll be reviewing that I think would have been more interesting if we watched it like 2 weeks ago. It would have fit a theme.
Yeah. Sunday.
And Sundays. But yeah, so we're almost, like you said, we should be able to wrap this up this weekend because technically from this recording moment, we have 3 episodes left of season 1 of Better Off Ted before we kick off our whole movie marathon that will last until January.
Yeah, I was thinking of the first part of the movie, and I was like, no, we have, yeah. So guys, if you wanted a hint, there's movies from pretty much August all the way to something till next year.
Yeah,
and then next year is going to be a fun treat.
Yeah, because we have Prelude to Halloween, then we have Halloween, then we have Thanksgiving.
Well, Thanksgiving's going to be fun.
Yeah, then we have Christmas, and then we have our next series picked out. So I would say if you guys are enjoying the Better Off Ted stuff and want us to go over season 2 as well, let us know soon. So because we've already started trying to think of things much further in the future.
If you guys want to know what our hour-long conversation where we both said we don't really have a lot to talk about, we got distracted, big surprise, about talking about next year's Halloween and Christmas, which is a strong assumption from both of us, like that we're going to be
still obsessed with movies all the way until then.
Movies and like, I don't know. I just always assume I'm going to do something that messes up a friendship. So it's like will Hop want to put up with me with another year?
We'll see.
Who knows?
Tune in to find out 18 months from now.
Yeah. Someone clip this.
But yeah, so
it will be interesting to see like how much, like, I realize like how I realize how this could come off as like how the world could change, and it's just like it would just be interesting, like, I don't know, like in like 18 months from now, like just our 2 lives, like how much would they change? Like, because even if we look about it on it like 18 months in the past from before, it, like, I don't know, I feel like it would probably have been different.
Yeah, I mean, like when we both started this was when I was kind of how do I put this? I put a lot of energy into everything but myself. Because I was creating on how many platforms at that time, and then I was also work traveling, and then we were doing the podcast live also, so that was even more of like a harder scheduling demand than it currently is. Yeah. And then to now where I'm kind of just like, I feel like I'm vibing, and I don't know how I existed in that perpetual state before.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. I think about me a couple years ago, and it's like, nah, focus just changed.
Same energy in different directions, just different places where the energy goes.
I think like maybe the energy is a little bit more focused, but it's still like, it's rather than like trying to do all these different kind of things, like it's more just like there's just stuff I do because I'm like, I don't know, it's just fun. Like uploading food TikToks, I don't know. I don't really care if that takes off or not.
Yeah, if it's fun, it's fun. Because, like, what was it? I know I've disappeared from TikTok again for quite a while, and then also from streaming again for quite a while. But I remember mentioning once that, like, oh, I'm back after having gone to therapy for a while and trying to work on myself. And some of my mutuals that I had on TikTok were like, okay, I'm glad, because like you seem better now. And I was like, how can you tell by me memeing on TikTok? Like, but I mean, if I guess it's one of those things where they say what, like, you don't ever see your own growth or see how you change. It's usually other people that are like, oh, by the way, before when you were focusing on all these things, you were a stress ball. And I was like, was I?
Who are you? Yeah, no, there's, I don't know. I guess so. I just have people tell me that I'm crazy. I was just thinking, like, how funny it'd be if in 18 months, if the two dreams that would probably best be left off air, like for what I'm about to say next, came true.
It would be neat to see.
It'd be interesting.
Just take me along for the ride. You'll be like, oh, I have public appearances to do in this area. I'd be like, oh, do you need an assistant? Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
Sure.
I joke. I have no formal training on how to schedule anything. I can't schedule my own life, let alone somebody else's.
Thinking about it, I'm the one that normally does the scheduling. Just like, hey, does this work with you? Let me talk with friends.
Yeah, but that's because, like you said, you're the ideas, you're the energy and all the directions person, and I'm the person that's like, okay, let's buckle it down.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it's like Better Off Ted was, that was your idea, and it's. I realized the way my tone of voice was about to come out is like, and Deeping regrets it. I don't.
I know you were not excited for it.
Yes, but that's the thing. I'm not a sitcom person.
Yeah, I tried to find one that wasn't one that you'd already seen.
Which would have been really easy.
Well, I was going to say, because, like, Always Sunny is one of my other favorite ones.
Yeah.
I also really like Arrested Development. Have you watched that already?
Nope.
Okay, that one's a bit... I don't know if it's necessarily an anti-sitcom in the way that Always Sunny structured itself, but it definitely makes fun of a lot of the tropes and is a lot, like... I was rewatching Arrested Development, and I was like, they got away with that? They could do that?
Yeah, I think, I'm, for the most part, with Better Off Ted, now that we're on episode 11, we got 2 more episodes after this to watch. I think for the most part, I'm enjoying myself, but I don't think I would have watched it on my own. Like, I would...
You wouldn't have stumbled upon it.
Yeah. And it's like, well, when you brought it up, I never heard of it. And if I saw it on the TV, like on Hulu or something like that as I was flicking through, I would most likely never watch it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's just like throughout, like there's some episodes that were like, okay, and there's some episodes that I'm like, I like better. But overall, it's like an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, like, I think the show is, like, not the best or worst, but I think the writing for certain episodes is very good that, like... You gotta give it credit where it can. Yeah. But, so then speaking...
I like there's no laugh tracks.
Yeah, I hate laugh tracks, too. Oh, were you worried about that when I was like, I have a sitcom idea?
I don't think it really crossed my head until I started watching it. Or, like, later, I was like, oh, there's no laugh tracks.
Yeah, where they let you decide if the joke's funny instead of forcing you to laugh. Okay, so then speaking of all this, I think this is the episode that was written by the same person that wrote episode 4. I think that's where we came up to.
I think so.
So what did you think of this episode overall?
I thought I liked it, and it definitely had a different tone.
It definitely tried to actually pay attention to the characters, I think is the big difference for this one.
And, like, there were still things that were funny, but it felt like I gotta scroll up. Like, even the episode before this, like, there was a lot of funny jokes as it's just, like, where the whole thing is like, hey, here's a parody of how companies, like, hide their mistakes. While this one, as we get into it, it's like, no, like, we're gonna bring some levity in some of these things, but it's like there's still and like I realize what I'm saying is like it wasn't like it was a super heavy episode to watch, but it was like there was definitely themes in there that were like, okay, I can see, like, this isn't just like for jokes. This is like a little bit, not so much, I can't think of the right word, but it's just like it connects. It might also just connect a little bit more where it's just like there's a few things I'm like, that reminds me of someone in my life.
Yeah, like it was interesting to me coming back and watching this because of how different every character is. And I feel like a lot of sitcoms, they kind of just want you to buy that a character is a stereotype of something. Like they're just there to always be the funny guy, or there to always be like the serious guy. But here they try to do some more backstory to be like, all right, we've introduced you to these characters and put them all these situations. Now we want you to feel bad about why they are like this.
Mm-hmm. Like, and some of the stuff in this episode is a little bit predictable.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think that detracts from, like, I really did like this episode. Okay. And, and it wasn't the one that, like, made me, like, bust out laughing, like, I'm a liar and a cheat, or whatever he says. Like, it
is me. I do the drugs. I am the bad guy.
Yeah. With a squirrel? What? Or like I'm trying to remember the other ones that were that made me laugh a bunch. The episode 9 and 10 were pretty funny episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one about the 9 was very funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it I liked what they did with this episode, because it was like, I thought it was a good mix of funny and like attempt at sending a message.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think it is the same, now that I look at the wiki again. It is the same writer as episode 4, which was another episode where it did have like a message in it, but it did have a different director. But it looks like the director is the director that we like better, because he's the same director as like episode 9 and like the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch the name of the episode, but the episode name is Father, Can You Hear Me?
Yeah.
Which will make sense as we go over it, but mm-hmm. I have pre-rolled my dice on my dice rolling app.
Oh, okay.
Which dice is it today for you?
I don't know. Let's see. Whatever's the last one in my hand. Oh, they all fell out of my hand. Well, I'm going to go with the one that stayed on the table, because I don't know where the other 2 went.
Okay.
All right. I'll ask you, should I re-roll it? Because I was... or should I just go with
No, just go with it.
It was a 4.
Oh, okay. I got a 16.
I was expecting to say 1.
I have rolled worse than you for a lot of these weeks. But all right. So then as you collect your dice, I'll go ahead and start doing the synopsis of the episode. So in this episode, like we mentioned with the title, this episode is about daddy issues.
Whee!
Each character, minus Linda, minus Phil, minus Lem. So I guess that really just leaves Veronica and Ted. Veronica and Ted have kind of very different, but both very strained relationships with their fathers. And you kind of follow their 2 storylines. I think the way I set up the questions was, first I have questions about Ted's, because I feel like Ted's kind of went a little bit more in depth, whereas Veronica's was kind of like overarching, that kind of kicks off the story. But you find out that Veronica and her dad are not close at all, and the only thing that they really do to kind of stay in contact is they have implanted spies in each other's companies to try and steal products before the other one can finish it. And then whoever successfully wins at completing the project sends the other one like some kind of prize, like flowers or cookies or things like that. And then he comes in and visits randomly, and she's, trying to weigh it out, like, oh, are you here to rub something in my face? What is this about? And he admits that he has cancer and that he's going to be passing away soon. And then she doesn't believe it at all, because she's like, no, my dad's the tough guy. Nothing bad can happen to him. And then Linda steps in and is like, you should spend time with him. you should enjoy each other's company, like, because she says she's very close with her family. And then all during this, Ted kind of is like reminded of all the stuff with his father, where his dad never recognized any of his accomplishments and was like, why do anything else? Just do what the family has always done and just be a plumber. Why strive for anything else? And then You see Ted kind of anxiously try and find ways to gain his father's affection through trying to see if he can force Lem and Phil to skip all the necessary protocols for a new invention that they've accidentally found, which is a hair growth serum. And Ted's like, no, we need it. I need it now. I need it like tomorrow. And you come to find out that his dad's birthday is around the corner. And you kind of start to connect the dots that, like, if I can give my dad hair, dad will love me. So Ted jumps the gun, tests on himself, and we find a lot of hijinks related to what the spray is capable of and what the spray shouldn't be doing but does instead. Then all while Ted is dealing with this, Ted is also kind of perpetuating the good old cycle by pushing Rose to be something that she doesn't necessarily want to be, because like Ted is the successful business public speaker, like he's that kind of personality. And Rose mentions once that she's might run for class president, so Ted's like putting all his all to like do it, be class president. It's gonna look good for you. It's gonna be great. And Rose is like, I don't think I want to anymore, because he keeps pressing her to do it. And then you kind of also jump back to the storyline of Veronica and her dad awkwardly trying to navigate what it is to be a father-daughter, because they've never been that type of father-daughter before. And there are some funny moments in there too that I'm sure we'll talk about. And in the end, Veronica tests her dad to see, like, does he actually want to be close to me, or is he just going to be the same old guy like to the end? And surprise, some people never change. Womp womp. And then Ted eventually has his realization, though, that he should back off and lets Rose be a kid still. And then backs off trying to force his dad to love him and just accept it for what it is. Did I miss anything?
No. Your synopsis of the episode are a lot more... cover way more than mine do. I pretty much go until like... And then there's this. And we'll cover this as we come out.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we would go more into detail about them, but I was just kind of thinking off the top of my head, I'm like, this happens, and this happens, and this happens.
Yeah.
But all right, so then I guess my first question for you that kind of blanket covers most of the episode, are you surprised by the different relationships each of the characters has with their fathers?
I don't, like, it makes sense, like, for some of them, like, where... I guess it gives a little bit of context with Ted a little bit that I guess wasn't super needed, where he was like, it kind of makes sense why he kind of proves himself so much compared to like other people. Yeah,
because we have Veronica and her dad who only talk through competition. You have Ted who never received his father's love for any like accomplishments he had. Linda... I don't know if I could survive in Linda's family, but
yeah, same here. I was like, that sounds like the worst.
But Linda talks about how like she calls her parents every day, and then she even still talks to her grandmother and how close she is with her family. Phil says he has a great relationship with his dad, but doesn't dive into it. And then Ted tries to challenge Lem, because Lem's like, yeah, my dad died when I was 3. And Ted's like, oh, so there's a chance he was a bad guy. And Lem's like, I mean... what was it? He saved 30 people from a burning bus, and his final words were, I love my son more than the stars.
Yeah, and Ted's just like, okay.
Because Ted wanted to confide in them, like, oh, don't talk to Linda about her dad, because Linda and her dad get along.
Yeah, so, but I guess the two main ones... Like, I guess thinking about it, like, if that's, like, your relationship with your parents and all that stuff, and, like, for, Linda, that I think that would make sense why why she would, like, is always thinking about going back to that, because it's, like, part of me wonders, because in my head, I always imagine Viridian in New York.
I could see that, because they make it sound like it's supposed to be in major cities. Like, every time they talk about the other headquarters, they're all in major cities.
Yeah, and it's like, and isn't also in the beginning of the episode where she says that they have like this getaway Linda says that her family owns like this getaway cabin in like Seattle.
It's whatever episode when he thinks he could be in a relationship with Linda, then she says like, you know what, I want to get away from Viridian. I'm gonna go move out into this cabin that my family has. If not Seattle, it was like Oregon or something.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it's. I'm trying to remember because like I don't know the skyline of Seattle, and so like I don't know if it's like if there's a lot of skyscrapers in there, but it's like I guess the other option it could be is like Michigan. Is it Detroit that has? No. I'm forgetting where in Michigan or some Chicago. There we go. That's not Michigan.
Where it's
but just
a famous skyline.
Yeah, where it's just like because they always show like the skyscraper, like and there's always like kind of skyscrapers around Viridian, and so I always imagine like either Chicago or New York. New York normally comes first because I think I've been there more, but I lost the thread where I was going with it. Oh yeah, but it's like yeah, but Linda always this like it always seems like she moved into the city. And so
yeah, and I think the other interesting thing about Linda when you kind of look at how her character has been throughout the series, she's always been the one comfortable with talking about like feelings, being open with people, trying to understand people, versus like Ted and Veronica are like, what are feelings? I don't like them. I don't like how I feel right now. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to do anything about it. Mm-hmm. And like Linda said, like she talks to her family constantly. I'd imagine that also relates to her being like, oh, if we have a problem, we're going to talk it out. We're going to figure out what's going on so that we're all happy. And then anytime like Linda in the one episode when they were sharing offices at last episode was like, hey Ted, how's it feel to run away from your problems? And Ted was gone. He did not face his problems.
So yeah, so I think like their relationship with their parents, I guess the only one that is a little bit confusing is Phil, because he's just like, he doesn't go into it.
Yeah, you would have thought that with how kind of self-conscious he is, maybe there would have been something weird. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the way that him and his wife talk to each other that he has lost all his self-confidence.
Maybe, yeah. So, but yeah, he's just like, and now I'm trying to remember because yeah, he's just like, no, we're pretty good. And I think that's just kind of where it goes. Yeah, I don't know, maybe their relationship was fixed of their constant complaining about each other's lives.
That's how they bond.
Yeah. Mutual complaints.
Yeah, but no, I agree. And you kind of mentioned it already that like Ted and his dad kind of makes sense why Ted's character is the type that's like, I have to be the best at everything I do. Like Medieval Fight Club, he immediately raised to the top. When it comes to work, he wants to be like the best manager. Anytime there's a competition between him and Veronica, like he has to win it. But all of that aside, how did you feel about how he tried to handle Rose's campaign? I kind of want the posters that the screen printing people made for her.
The posters are cool.
And it was like, her riding a unicorn and saying like, Rose, I believe, or something.
Yeah. So there's two things with this. Like, one, I do like the one thing I really like is how much Ted gets involved with Rose. Like, no matter what it is, like he's like, yeah. On the same time, he doesn't really listen, and he's just like it's kind of the same kind of thing with running for class. Wait, no, this one was running for class.
Yeah, this one was the running for wrapping paper was the other one.
Yeah, wrapping paper. And his desire to see her succeed at any cost is like sometimes blinds him from like what she actually wants.
Yeah, it is interesting because like he, on one hand, you can tell he's like, I'm being a better dad because I'm encouraging what she wants. But then he like puts on his Ted goggles and was like, she wants to win. It's like, Not always. She just wants to do and participate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's but like at the same time he's like, I think like I don't know, saving grace makes it sound like in my head a whole lot worse, but it's just like he does go up and he's just like kind of, I don't think he actually says I'm sorry, but he's just like, hey, if you don't want to do this, that's fine. And like, and she's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, we can do what you want.
Yeah, you can stay being a kid for a little while longer. We don't have to like push you. Yeah, but yeah. Speaking of this episode, did you have a student class president at what she said 3rd grade?
Not at 3rd grade. We had one in middle school, and I'm trying to remember because a few people like wanted it, and like me as a joke just said, yeah, sure. And then I completely forgot about it. Mm-hmm. And like and then I was like, the more I like heard about it, I was like, I don't really want that. But all my friends were like, dude, we should vote Payne in so that way he misses recess. And I'm like, this sounds like the worst thing ever.
So exactly why Rose was like, you know what? I don't want it anymore, because she says that, yeah, she doesn't want to be stuck in meetings during recess, and she just wants to make mud pies, which was, I thought, very adorable. But I don't even think I had any kind of student class president until I was in a high school, because my middle school, they kind of like converted the middle school and forced everyone to do K-8 instead of go to a new building. So I think that's why they kind of like were just like, we're not even gonna do class presidents, because like you guys are basically still at the same school.
Yeah, well, like, that's the thing. Because even when I went to, and it might have been the fact that I went to a technical high school rather than like a public high school or private, or I don't know if there's a third option. But for anyone that doesn't know what a technical high school is, it's pretty much for half of the year. Well, at least the one I went to, it's like 6-day cycles. So for 6 days, you're doing math, science, English, history.
Like the typical high school classes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're doing them, and then after 6 days, you switch and you go to learn a trade for the next 6 days. And so pretty much...
I was going to say, I think the one near me, we called it VOTEC because it's like vocational technical school or whatever. Okay. So anyone that went there, we were like, oh, you go to the VOTEC. Because, yeah, and I think most of the kids in my area, they did it to like car mechanics or welding, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't use what I learned in there at all anymore. So anyway, we did that, and I think just because of just how that school naturally was built, like where everyone is, you're more focused around like who's in your shop rather than like a grade as a whole. Mm-hmm. That we didn't really have. If we had class presidents and all that stuff, I never knew. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'm like, I don't understand what they do. Like
from what I understood from the ones that I had in high school, like they supposedly plan things for like Spirit Week and things, again, things that are pretty normal if you're in like a traditional high school. And then I think they were expected to do the like high school reunion organization stuff, but I like didn't go to my reunion, so I don't even know.
I don't think they have any way to contact me now.
I've had people message me like, "Oh, hey, just so you know, we're gonna have a reunion," and then I just didn't answer.
Yeah, I had one from my middle school. They're like, "Yeah, it's this," and then I never showed up.
Completely fair.
But I don't know. I'll to fully admit, the only time I can think of class president is in anime, which I'm like, well, that one. It's more of like just
they give them more responsibilities.
Yeah, it's like collecting money for like trips, and
they also
all based off of anime I've watched.
Yeah, and then off the anime I watched, they also plan like the trips, and they also help plan the a school festival where they all have booths and things like that.
And then they're the first ones to get blamed if the money goes missing because one of the people put all the money in her backpack to frame her. But don't worry, the main character traveled back in time. Sorry, different show.
D-Pain has been on a bit of an anime kick and trying to figure out how to fit more anime into our roster of things we've been watching.
Thing is, it's like I didn't watch really. Like I've been going through One Piece, and then I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I think I just want to read this. I don't want to watch this anymore.
It is a lot faster to read it, to be honest.
I want to read it, but at the same time, there's like some parts I'm like, I want to see this scene, and so like I don't know. Pretty much, I just want to get past the time skip. That's all I want to get to. And I was talking to someone, I was like, when's the time skip? And they're like, episode 500. I'm like, okay. Oh, man. That's like... And they did say that I think the writer's like, yep, this is the final arc we're on. And I'm like, so there is an ending, but I'm like, I don't really want to watch it.
There's a long way to go.
I made it to episode 100, which is longer than I think anyone thought I was going to make it.
I'm very proud of you. You're the person scared of a third season, let alone a second season of anything.
I think it's because there are no seasons of this.
It just is going.
It just goes. And I'm like, so, I don't know. I might just... Because, like, the other thing was like, I don't know. I was thinking, so maybe I'll stop at episode 100 and just, like, kind of take a break and come back into it. And then episode 100 is like the start of the like apparently the longest story arc.
Fun.
Which is.
Are you also watching the movies?
I didn't know there was movies.
I don't know how canon they are, so.
I know who I can ask. So.
You've got your resources.
This person watched all of One Piece, I think, in the course of 6-ish months.
That's a lot of watching.
Yeah, well, she said she didn't really have a lot to do. Plus, she doesn't stream anymore, but like her whole streaming community was like, "You'll never do it," and she's like out of spite. But said, I think they said if you, like her and her boyfriend, like timed it out, and it was just, I think you could watch all of One Piece if you watch every episode. If you sleep for like 8 hours, like an 8-hour sleep. And you go to the bathroom once, and all you do is watch One Piece back to back to back to back. I think they're like I think it's like 2 or 3 months you could watch everything.
That's very dedicated. It's not dedication that I have, but okay.
I don't know. If I actually had COVID, maybe I would do that. But I don't. You don't get 3 months of COVID.
No, you don't get that kind of luxury of getting that much time off. The CDC was like, guess what? No more quarantine time, and I was like, I don't like that.
The more and more they take away stuff around, I wish I lied and said I had it, so that way I could at least gotten the 2 weeks.
Gotten the 10 days, yeah.
Yeah.
But so back to here's the segue. Changing protocols for convenience. Haha. What did you think at first when Ted was trying to push past all the initial testing requirements for the hair growth serum? Because as soon as he finds out the hair is growing, he's like, we got to get to you have to do human testing now. And Lem is like, no, we don't just skip all the tests.
Yeah, I don't know. At first, I thought it all makes sense later. Well, actually, you said it in your recap. With his dad.
The only time his dad says something that Ted's held on to was like, you know what? If you're gonna invent things, invent something that's a toupee that doesn't go all wonky when I go underneath the sink.
Yeah, and so at that part it made sense, but at the other side, I'm like, I know a lot of people. There's tons of products out now for men to combat baldness. Mm-hmm.
It's a big money industry.
Yeah, there's there was a thing on Hims, that's actually that we're not promoting anything, but there's stuff. It's really funny because I was listening to another podcast, and the prescription that the service I just mentioned was talking about, the guy went to the doctor and he was just like, hey, you have any prescriptions? And he told him, he's like, oh, is that for blood flow down there? And he's like, wait, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, that's like to make sure everything keeps working and all that. He's like, no, it's for hair. He's like, oh yeah, I guess that would work too.
I guess it does both.
And it was just, he was like, the guy was like, I'm not going to complain. I hope everything keeps working down there. But he's just like, it's not what I was expecting to hear when I went to my doctor. But yeah, there's that. There's like foam that got not sent to me, but it was promoted to me, where it's supposed to like pretty much acid burn your scalp to like clear the dirt out of your pores, because like most people have hair. It's just like your pores are clogged. I'm like, I don't know how true that is either.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a stretch. I know. And then there's when you have more money, you can get the hair plugs and all that.
Every time I see hair plugs, all I see is the person in pain and blood.
Yes.
I also think of like the crab doll from Toy Story that has all the hair it's shaped.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, in the beginning it just seems kind of like he's pushing it for like he keeps saying it's the Holy Grail and he keeps saying it's for money. And then yeah, it comes to reveal that his dad, one of his few things that makes him seem like his dad would be proud of him is via like hair growth stuff.
Yeah.
But
it also seems to line up with and we'll get into this when we get there, but with I forgot her name. Where is her name?
Veronica?
Yes, with Veronica stuff, where it's just like the constant like rivalry, and he's like, it kind of feels like it feeds a little bit into that. It's like, okay, before like the first like side of it's like, okay, it's like this is a gold mine. Before the spies get to it, let's push this through. And then it's like, oh no, it wasn't for the company at all. It was for I did something bad.
Yeah, and then by skipping all this stuff ahead of time, he finds out that the hair will grow in anything. So now I propose to you, would you love or hate having hairy furniture? I'd hate it.
Yes, I would hate it. I would also say, as someone who is on the hairier side, and hair just naturally falls out, there's a lot of sweeping I have to do. And it's like, I hate that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I wouldn't want a shag carpet desk.
I do like when Veronica walks in, she's like, are you shaving your desk? He's like, if I don't do it, who will?
Yeah. And then he's like, and then she's like, I know someone like in Brazilian wax that in 3 minutes. Stop torturing it. And be here in like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So.
All right. I just checked the time that we have on this episode so far, so I'm going to kind of skip ahead of some of the questions I wrote as filler questions, as I do sometimes. So, yeah, so that's kind of like Ted's arc, and we kind of mentioned during the recap that he resolves it by realizing that I think Veronica makes a comment that's like, my dad's just going to be who he is. Why change it now? So Ted's like, I guess that's the best way you can go about it, because you can't change how someone feels about stuff. You can just work with it. So then we have on the flip side, I just wanted to mention this. Did you enjoy that the Viridian ad was a smear campaign against, was her dad's company, Digivision?
Yeah, Digivision.
Yeah, Digivision existed, and 1 million people got sad. How could you do this to us? Viridian good. Digivision bad. Because every other ad has been like, oh, we're the good guys. We made all these things.
Well, up to that point, all their little commercial campaign things are, don't look at what we just messed up in this episode. And in this one, it's like, hey, these people are bad.
They're worse than us. Don't buy from them.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they had to probably cool it down since they literally showed a Terminator in the last one.
We're combining the best things of robots and people and using them for war. implied war, because they had like the missiles drop and everything. But yeah, so how did you feel about Linda playing the moral compass this episode? Because I'm pretty sure previous episodes it's usually been Rose.
It was like the way they, like, with her character up to this point, and kind of just like how she talks about her family. Like, it makes it's interesting, and it's just like I find it interesting that Veronica listened.
Yeah, and I wonder if the reason they had that one episode of Veronica spilling all her secrets to her was kind of like a nice little precursor to this. Because I think without that episode, it wouldn't have made any sense to me that Veronica would listen to Linda. But it was also funny because Linda is like being very straightforward about her advice, and Veronica is like, the Dutch are so weird. And like Linda has to kind of like slowly peel it back until Veronica thinks that she made up her mind to deal with it, versus like letting it seem like Linda gave her advice.
And well, like, she's kind of like the moral compass, but then also the one that kind of is setting off like Ted and his downward spiral of dad stuff.
Yeah, because what did she say? She says, like, is it insincere for me to say that I have a good relationship with my dad after you just told me all this? And Ted's just like, grumble, grumble, grumble. Yeah.
And then, like, everybody he talks to has an amazing relationship with their dad. And he's just like, ma. So.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I thought it was more so interesting that, because every other episode, Linda is usually part of the chaos and isn't really one to really help solve it. I mean, she kind of helps solve it in some episodes, but through very, like, non-conventional means.
Well, like, she really doesn't do a whole lot in this episode. Like, it's, like, the only time she stays at her desk the whole time.
I know.
But, like, it makes sense because, like, she has to catch Veronica's dad, and then catch Veronica and Ted as they're
storming around the office.
Yeah. And so I guess she had a deadline, which is why she stayed at her office.
Or she was trying to teach her fish how to talk.
Yeah.
The other thing that she does pretty often, as far as we've seen. But yeah, so then, yeah, Linda is able to convince Veronica to actually check in on her dad. But even then, Veronica is like, my dad's a liar, and hires her own doctor. And the doctor she hires confirms his diagnosis. Then they go off and try and bond together at a park. And so yeah, were you also worried when they were trying to mimic that other father-daughter couple?
They weren't father-daughter. I hope they weren't father-daughter.
But like, I like how they're so out of touch of what it's like to be a father-daughter that they saw an old man and a young woman and went, oh, they must be.
Yeah. Well, like, I was a little suspicious when it was just like, that seems like I've seen like people sit like that,
and they're
like,
not related.
But then I'm like, but then it was just like the step right before the couple starts making out. I'm like, wait a second, that looks a little intimate. And then I just like how like they're just sitting there observing them, and it's just like they don't. Like, okay, I guess this is what they do, and they're just like slowly like just getting closer and closer, and then just like mirroring the people in the bench across from them. And then I'm like, it's just how like they're not uncomfortable, but they're not like,
you can tell touch is not their love language.
Yeah. It's just, and then the couple just starts making out, and they're like, nope.
Like, when I first saw that couple, I was like, they're sitting kind of weird. Like you said, like, they're sitting kind of weird. And then they start to scoot in, and I was like, no, not a good idea.
Yeah. So, but I also like how they tried to fly the kite.
I was going to ask, have you ever done any of those quote-unquote bonding activities that they try to speed through and montage in the park?
Alright, so Do we have a list of what they all were?
I know that, what is it? The two I remember clearly was like playing catch and flying the kite.
I never played catch, and flying the kite, I remember doing at the beach, but it felt more like, if I remember correctly, I don't know, I was a child, so it was like, memory is suggestive. But there's two kite memories I have. One was mainly just it wouldn't go in the air, and so my dad helped and then just kind of stood there. And then there was the other one which like kind of thinking about it, it's like I don't know what else a second person can do with a kite. But the second one was like I needed to get something, and so what I ended up doing was taking the handle for the kite, instead of like bringing the kite back in, I tried to put sand over top of the handle, thinking that would hold it. It didn't. And my dad and me chased the kite down to where it got caught on a person's house, and well, we thought we were going to get it, and this guy, thinking about it, risked his life to get, like, a dollar store kite. Because it got caught, like, on his gutter, and so he was, like, standing outside, like, on the outside of his window trying to reach it, and then he just, the wind / him bumping it, just, it took off. And I remember me, probably anywhere between 6 to 8 years old, just like, my kite, and my dad's like, stop.
It's gone. We can't do anything now.
It's nothing we can do about it, but like it was more just like I was annoyed walking back, and then I think I just ran in the ocean and forgot about it. But but it's just like, man, that dude risked his life to go get my kite.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the only time I haven't really ever played catch. Like, I play catch, like, with friends, but not really, like, to bond with anyone. And then the kite thing, I've only done kites where at my elementary school they had, like, kite flying competitions, air quotes, just like who could keep the kite in the air the longest. But I'm happy to hear that neither of us have set kites on fire.
Yeah, we did do. I forgot, there's a memory I have of playing catch with my dad. And then a bird pooped on him, and that was the last time we ever played catch.
That's a good reason not to play catch again.
Yeah, we were just throwing, and I was like, cool. And then all of a sudden, he's just like, gets super angry. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, he touches his head, gets super mad, and then runs in the house. And I didn't find out till, like, later. Because I was like, what's wrong? Come out, play again. That a bird pooped on his head.
Yeah, it's quite upsetting.
Yeah.
The outdoors is terrible. Go ahead.
Yeah. Apparently that it's, I don't know if it's on your hand, like if a bird poops on your hand, it's considered good luck, but it's just like, I agree with this podcast I was listening to that said that, it's like, that just sounds like something where the person who didn't get pooped on just said to comfort the person who got pooped on.
Yeah, when I was at the shore earlier this week, someone said that they had got pooped on by a seagull, and that when they sent a picture to their group, to like their family group text, their family went, "Oh, that's good luck," blah blah blah, and she's like, "No, it doesn't feel like good luck. It feels like a bad day."
Here's how the bird flu spread, Susan.
Yeah, I did enjoy the bonding activities. They were very bad at them. You could tell that they never spent quality time together.
They were very confused.
Yes. So then later on, you have Veronica's dad come over to the office and be creepy to Linda. Because Veronica did hint through the beginning of the episode that mom left them because he slept through her sorority in college. That's so gross. But in it, she mentions like something they could do as another bonding activity, and she describes this road trip. I think you said earlier you don't think you could survive being on this road trip.
Yeah, I don't think I could. Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't think I could survive being with Linda's family in general. But I don't know, like, our cross-country road trip is something, that I would love to do.
with the right people.
Yes.
But they, I did enjoy that. What was it? They said they went to see the world's biggest thermometer, and they went to a town that had a dog mayor.
That's true though. Like there's a town that has it's a golden retriever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not a lie, but it was like, she listed all those things. So when she's like, I'll get you the brochure to the dog mayor. And what does he say? He says, no wonder this country is trying to eat itself dead.
Yeah. And then it just shows him later reading the brochure.
Yeah. Sitting in her office. Yeah, I don't know, like, I would have to have a pretty small group with me to do a cross-country road trip. But I would definitely want to stop at all those, like, biggest things. Because when there was a time that I had to drive from St. Louis back to New Jersey, and a lot of roadside signs, like, through a lot of those, countries, cities, had, like, we have the world's largest yarn ball. We have the world's largest rocking chair. And in my head, I was like, is this all they have? Just large things in the middle of the outdoors for people to stop by? And I think we drove past the quote-unquote world's largest candle shop, and I looked at it and I was like, why are the candles like giant pillars outside? I hope it's not wax. How does it survive the summer?
They put it in an ice bath. So I looked it up. Apparently there's multiple towns that have dog mayors. So from 1981 to 1999, a black Labrador Rottweiler was the mayor of Sunsoul, California. His name is Bosco. Apparently he was running as a Republican. And had campaign promises including a bone in every dish, a cat in every tree, and a fire hydrant in every corner.
No, cats don't belong in trees.
This dog wanted it. Okay, the second one, I'm just looking at this one article. I think there's only like, I don't know how many there are. This also is from 2019, so who knows? There could be updated ones. So there's one, a border collie named Lucy Liu, which is the first female mayor of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky.
That is a dog.
Yep, served from 2008 to 2016.
Oh, good life.
I'm not going to say their campaign slogans. That's censored. It's like the bee you can count on.
Wow.
So, yeah,
you even managed to make things sexist for a dog.
Thanks, Kentucky. Hey. Oh, here we go. Berneth Paltrow, a pit bull, succeeded Lucy Liu as mayor of Rabbit Hash, Kentucky in 2016, and they beat out a cat and a donkey that was running.
That's quite a place to be.
They didn't share their campaign promises or campaign speeches. In 2013, Max, a golden retriever, was elected as Idlewild, California, the mayor. He's quite distinguished.
Yeah. So while you've been looking at that, I'm looking at the world's largest list across the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
There is a world's largest ball of twine that is in Kansas, and then there's world's largest ball of twine, parentheses, by one man, in Minnesota. The one that kind of creeps me out the most out of this whole list is the world's largest preserved cow. So, plenty of roadside attractions that I'm sure Linda's family probably has seen.
I was just scrolling through this as well just to see if there's anything closer to us, because a lot of them are middle of the country. And,
yeah, I know of the elephants. I've driven past signs for it. I've never seen it in person.
Mayor. The Lucy.
Yeah, in
I've been there
Margate.
a few times. Yeah. I was talking about mayors.
Oh, dog mayors. Sorry.
Well, there was in Fairhaven, Vermont, in 2019. He was the town's first mayor. Lincoln, a Nubian goat. Let's see. That's Texas, Chicago. Okay, that's all it was. A lot of them, Vermont was the closest to us. A lot of these were like, Rabbit Hash just elects animals.
Good for them.
Yeah, because in 2020 they elected a Wilbur, a 6-month French bulldog.
Baby. But yeah, sorry. When I was looking at the world's largest thing, yeah, they have the quote unquote world's largest elephant in New Jersey. Apparently in Philadelphia there's the world's largest clothespin, but they won't provide a picture of that.
We also have the world's largest in Philly medical museum. I think it's the world's largest. The Murdo.
Oh, I see pictures of the world's largest clothespin. It is 45 feet tall, and it is in front of the Center Square building. Why? Okay.
Muter Museum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
I don't know if that's the biggest, but I know I've been to it. It's not... I don't consider it big, I guess.
I never been in there. It's got a bunch of skulls.
Yeah, it's a medical... I don't think marvels is the right word, but oddities sounds rude. But it's like curious medical things. Like I remember my sister took me and I was probably too young, but there was a drawer where you could pull out like different drawers. Sorry, my brain just didn't know how to words. And in each one was a bunch of items in it that they surgically removed from someone who had the condition where they had the compulsive need to eat like non-edible things. Mm-hmm. And then it said how the person passed away before they could even get like the stuff out. But it was like a full dresser, and it was just like shelves of like clothespins, batteries, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I'm uncomfy.
Oh yeah, I think it's here, the Shelver Jackson collection. I'm on their website.
I've been meaning to go back again as an adult.
Yeah, I think I would like to go. I think they had a... I can't find it. I remember hearing about it. I would like to donate my body to the museum. How can I do this? Oh, not allowed. But yeah, they had like a colon that was like just stuffed with stuff.
Yeah, there was one person, they were talking about how their colon just was like bigger than everybody else's, and I was just like,
yeah, and they had it. They had it in there. At least they used to. I don't know if they still did. Oh, there it is, the megacolon. Material: straw, fabric, stuffing. Yeah, so we'll leave that up for other people if they want to look into that.
But yes, so I guess the last question I just had was, did you enjoy the little test Veronica left for her dad as her kind of final hurrah?
It was, I think it was interesting. Like it was funny how like they gave a known like problematic experiment, because it's just like, all right, it's a win-win for her, because it's like, okay, he doesn't want this and like actually wants to rebuild the relationship, or we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and he's going to pretty much just like ruin his company pretty much trying to get this thing to work. So yeah, it's it would be interesting to see like if in like season 2, if we ever watch it, if there's like reports of like Digivision getting overtaken by hair.
That would be funny. But yeah, it was I thought it was a nice ending to the episode to kind of finalize out, where, like you said, a lot of these episodes are kind of more like one-off things that aren't full chain. So this was a nice way for them to wrap up like, okay, everything's concluded in the story arc that we built for this like 25-minute episode.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Yeah, it's a neat little test, and like you knew he was going to take it.
Yeah. And I think it's probably one of those things where she was like, I have a feeling he will, but I hope he won't. But he's made his decision.
And she's not upset by it.
No, she's like, I guess we can just stay the way that we were. We don't have to be whatever Linda says a family should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So overall, you said you enjoyed the episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Just like it's two different, I guess, reactions to how fathers treated their kids growing up. Like where Veronica and her dad were very much like, no, we have something that works for us, and it might not be conventional to other people, but we're this is how we connect and bond and all this other stuff. So it's like, who cares what other people say? Like, this is how like they show their love, even though if it doesn't make sense to a normal person.
Yeah, and I did catch that they have to be somewhat close, because they also made the joke about hating on her sister.
Yeah,
because he says something like, oh, this will give your sister something to talk about and not just her stupid babies.
Mm-hmm. And then like with Ted's side of it, it's interesting where I think it comes to a part like in the end of his journey where he's just like, you know what, I'm okay. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to impress my dad at this point, but and all this stuff. But he's like, it's still like, I'm still going to care and about him and like, or for him, and just show that like he still wants that relationship and all that stuff. But he's just like, hey, even though you didn't respect or care about anything I did my whole entire life and super successful, and I'm going to still like honor you like for Father's Day and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then I thought it was also a neat way for him to realize how to be a better dad to Rose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, you could tell like I don't think he outwardly says like, I'm becoming like my dad to Rose, but it's like you can see the gears click where he's just like, oh,
I've heard this before.
Yeah. It was very early on. Like, I think it was like the second time after, like it was after the first time it shows like how his dad treated him, and then I think it's like shortly after. Well, it had to be shortly after. These episodes are only like 20-some minutes long. Mm-hmm. How he's interacting with Rose, and I'm like, ooh, he's doing the same thing. Yeah, it was definitely like just it's just interesting that. But the thing at the end I thought was funny was just like, here, have a mud cookie.
Yeah, for one of the gifts. Yeah, it was very cute. But yeah,
I'm like, I hope he doesn't need it.
But yeah, so I guess that wraps up.
Did you make mud cookies growing up?
I think I made a mud pie once because my friend wanted to, and then I didn't understand it, and then I didn't do it again.
I don't understand it. No, like now or back then. Like, well, I don't know anyone that did make them because you can't eat it.
Yeah, like but the thing is, like, when my friend made it, we never saved it. It was just an excuse to like play in mud. Kind of like how like with Play-Doh, like I think Play-Doh, a lot of kids tend to make foods with Play-Doh. So I think it's kind of like that.
I don't like Play-Doh. Like when I was younger, I remember I saw a commercial where a kid fake ate Play-Doh. Mm-hmm. And then that image combined with the smell made me sick.
Completely fair.
And I'm so like, even to this day, I'm like, I don't want to touch. I don't want to play. Like, I don't want anything to do with Play-Doh.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think that wraps up. I think we did a good kind of jumping into this episode. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything we might have missed from your notes?
Oh, yeah. Let's open up my notes real quick. There's my notes. I had everything else opened up, just not this one. Yeah, no, we covered everything.
Okay. So yeah, I guess next up we'll be talking about episode 12.
The pre-ultimate episode.
I was gonna look up the name of the episode. This one.
Jabberwocky.
Mm.
That's a...
All right, let me not read the description at all.
Yeah, I just opened up the article and then clicked over to Twitter. But that's Jabberwocky is the name of the thing in Elden Scrolls.
But yeah, so again, appreciate.
There's one last thing I just want to share with you. Hold on, I gotta just send you this picture. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I just think it's funny.
Okay, so let me do the outro and then I'll react to the picture you send to me. So thanks for listening this far. We always appreciate it. We all also double appreciate it if you leave us any kind of ratings or reviews or comments wherever you listen or watch us on your favorite platforms. Comments, I guess, more so for YouTube. But if you interact with us in any of those types of ways, we'll be sure to give you a shout out in the next episode as long as we catch it. If you feel like we missed something that you shared with us, then feel free to let us know at twitter.com/pointlessdisco, and we'll make sure to give you proper shout outs and thanks and all that kind of stuff. And then with all of that, triple appreciate if you share us with anybody in your life, even a stranger. They're in your life somehow. And
or
then
us.
Share it back with us. And I'm blanking on anything else.
I'll have to check tomorrow to see if we have YouTube comments. I forgot to check
I
that.
did see this photo.
It's
Very good t-shirt. I love whenever people are like, they go thrifting and they find the most cursed shirts. I don't have that
buy
look.
this shirt?
I've never been to Ohio, so I don't want to... I don't think I would. If I'd been to Ohio at least once, then yeah, I probably would.
So, for anyone that is wondering what I sent, it's a picture. I think it's the cover art for the first Harry Potter book, and he's flying through a outline of Ohio, and it just says Harry Potter hates Ohio. Must have been from a Michigan person. Like, I think the Michigan State and Ohio State football teams hate each other or have a rivalry. I don't know. I don't keep up with sports enough. But, yeah. Well, I was about to say see you tomorrow, but that's just to you. So...
Unless people are listening to these episodes back to back.
Oh, yeah. In the year 3072, when all entertainment is gone except for pointless discourse, because we took over the world.
Skynet.
That's my overarching golden dream. I want to be Skynet.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you guys next time.
Bye-bye.